Okay. Mary, Mary, are you here?
180 years ago, Joe. Really? Actually, that was probably the closest he got to an honest statement all weekend.
Mary, last time we talked, leaders were calling you. Leaders were calling you, and they wanted you to, and then you stopped talking to me because you attended to the leaders. What did the leaders want?
It helped Joe remember his own talking points. This is how corrupt the mob is. Take a look.
For example, the Paycheck Protection Act. 1% of the money's gone out. 1%. 1% of the.
And
That's not the paycheck. The bill for small.
why?
For small businesses. Main Street lending. 1%'s gone out. And the
A.
Paycheck Protection Act went out. And but I think it should be focused
P.
on businesses under 50 employees.
P.
O.
O.
Nobody's here to help me. By the way, is that the guy you want representing
I.
us on the world stage, this country? You think
N.
President Xi, Putin, think they're going to eat this guy alive?
T.
What do you think the mullahs in Iran will be thinking about him if he's president? Wow. You
And.
really think he's capable of leading the free world? I don't. Tomorrow is theater for Joe. In other words, Joe
E.
will be regurgitating his memorized attack lines, his 4 to 5 points per topic, and he'll reiterate
And.
5 different ways to get through the 2-minute answer or the 90-second answer.
T.
But by the way, he's had an entire summer to practice.
Yeah, I know they wanted your appointment. That's what you wrote. You wrote my appointment. So, like, what? Why did they want your appointment?
Well, I'm not sure anybody hadn't already made up their mind there for Trump, but who knows? But that's, he's sort of like Goebbels. You say the lie long enough, keep repeating, it becomes common knowledge, and they think.
Why?
I think people see very clearly the difference between me and Donald Trump. Trump is,
O.
Trump is
U.
clearing protests in front of the White House that are peaceful.
That's
with the military.
R.
This guy's more Castro than Churchill.
Okay, really? Joe Biden
R.
compared President Trump to 2 of the world's most evil
E.
monsters. Joe Biden just informed his wife, the media mob, that no one is allowed to attack Joe for his
Q.
facts. I guess I missed the memo because we're just calling it like we see it,
U.
showing you the truth so you can decide. Take a look.
E.
My husband has been known
F.
to make the occasional gaffe.
T.
Oh, you can't even go there. You can ask
Oh, so whenever they called you, it was about my request to do the blindfold test. Is that correct?
The gaffe issue is over.
over.
So over. I've been in the Senate 180 years. It's over. Don't talk about it. Of course, well, fake Jake Tapper was more than happy to comply with a delightful little laugh and a smile. Hard-hitting journalism at fake news CNN. Now, real journalists might be seemingly more concerned with Joe's...
You just said yes, I believe. Did you just say yes?
Numbers, bouts of anger, his inability to remember days of the week, the state that he's in,
Yes.
the office that he's running for, and his extremely...
Oh, what did they say? Did they grant the request?
Complete blackout of the media. He won't answer hardly any questions. More troubles, by the way. Troubling is still Joe's trouble with the truth. In the past, Joe has lied about his grades in school. He lied about having 3 degrees from college. Lied about getting a full ride to law school. Lied about where he came in his class in terms of graduating.
Why?
He lied about getting arrested in apartheid South Africa while on his way to visit
O.
Nelson Mandela. Lied about marching in the
U.
civil rights movement in the 1960s.
W.
The former Klansman that
I.
administered the Civil Rights Act that was against the
L.
Voting Rights Act. That he did.
L.
He did partner with that former Klansman. Why? Because he didn't want integration of our
B.
public schools, because he didn't want his kids going to schools that were
E.
racial jungles, in his words. He recently lied about attending a
G.
historically black university, Delaware State. Another whopper. Take a look.
HBCU.
R.
I got started out on HBCU, Delaware State. I don't want to hear anything
A.
negative about Delaware State here, okay?
N.
Problem is, Delaware State University denied that
T.
Joe was ever a student at the historically black university. In reality, instead of attending
E.
that school, Joe got his start, well, in the U.S. Senate,
D.
working with the segregationists to stop integration of schools and busing.
O,
Joe didn't want the kids, as I said,
N,
growing up in that racial jungle. Joe Biden has been in the
E,
swamp for nearly 50 years, where, guess what? Lying is just a way of
S,
life. Oh, did I forget his plagiarism? Neil
E,
Kennedy? Did I forget his plagiarism of Bobby Kennedy? He'll do
S,
and say anything for a vote.
S,
And really, when you think about it, he hasn't accomplished hardly anything, nothing that I can
A,
think of that has benefited the American people in 47 years. As Donald Trump likes to say, all talk. Tomorrow you'll hear all talk, all promises,
O,
new promises.
N,
How the Obamacare promises work out. And worst of all, he's now controlled by the radical
3,
base of his party, and they're bragging about controlling him, like AOC. If elected, he will carry out their bidding. If successful, his agenda will rip this country apart. It'll destroy and negate the very freedoms that we have enjoyed
T,
for our entire history.
E,
26 years, you get to determine,
S,
guess what? The government will ultimately
T,
serve. Here with more former White House
S.
physician and current Texas congressional candidate, Dr. Ronnie Jackson. Dr. Jackson,
No.
good to have you back. So I don't,
M,
it doesn't answer questions. I think the gap issue is actually a real problem.
O,
The president has been asking,
R,
taking any medicines? That would
E,
be medical transparency. I think that's a fair question. The mob and the media, all they ever want to talk about is
F,
transparency on all things Donald Trump. But
O,
I think the media's giving him a pass
O,
and allowing him not to answer questions and hide in his basement.
I,
Probably preparing all summer for the debate.
R, Y, I, S, A, L, O, U, D, O, F, M, Y, P, O, W, F, R, S, I,
All right. Thank you, Dr. Ronnie
N,
Jackson. Good luck in your race, too.
A,
We're paying very close attention.
S,
Now co-authors of the brand
D,
new book, Trump, America First. The president succeeds
N,
against all odds. 2016, Trump getting
S,
AIDS.
E,
Lewandowski, Dave, Fossey. Guys, good to see you both. All right, let me start with you, Corey. Let's talk about, so I believe,
S,
considering he's been hiding this whole
T,
time, that he's probably been preparing. Do both of you
H,
agree with that? I'll ask you both first.
Sean, I
E,
do, and look, this is exactly the playbook that Hillary Clinton used 4 years ago when she took a week off the campaign trail to get ready for Donald Trump. She still lost the debate to
R,
President Trump, then candidate Trump, without doing
E,
4, 5, and 6 rallies a day, asking people for their votes. It's the same playbook that Joe Biden's using.
T,
And Fossey, the president's been out all over the country, and he's still being president and doing peace deals
L,
and pretty much everything else in between.
Y,
He's the hardest working man I think
G,
Corey and I have ever been around. He is
I,
he shows that on the campaign trail. He showed it in 2016.
W,
Nobody is going to outwork him. But the American people, Sean, don't give
E,
the presidency to just anyone. You got to come and earn it.
N,
And that's what they're seeing with President Trump. They're seeing him do his day job and get around the country for rallies.
M,
This intensity, I think, is just going to pick up over the next 37 days till we get to election day.
E,
All right, so the question is, the president doesn't have a lot of time
Um,
to prepare. I was told in 2016.
Mary, I didn't get all of that message. There was a lot of letters. I got, you will be granted 1 session, 3 tests, no more. And then, what was the word that you wrote after more?
Every single day, Sean. That's exactly what I was just about to say. This president's preparing every minute of the day, being president, dealing with the issues that are important
F.
going into the press room and taking tough questions from the hostile press.
O.
And he's doing it on the way to the helicopter.
O.
Doing it on his way to Air Force One. These are things that Joe Biden is
L.
doing, and that's part of this president's debate prep. But he also understands the issues
E.
inherently because he's so
R.
ingrained in the policy every single day.
L.
I think a little bit of prep for the president.
Okay, no foolery.
You don't want to fill any candidate's mind full of facts and figures.
No foolery is allowed. And you wrote of my, and then did you write of my powers?
Sean, look, he's made a series of promises to the American people 4 years ago. He's fulfilled those promises, and now he's ready to put his record up against Joe Biden.
So that was an E.
In office compared to 47 years.
In a sense. And then you wrote, is there, or is the reply, and then what was the word after reply? Is the reply, what was the next word?
Sean, look, when you went to this
G.
ring, you have to be expected to be punched in the face. This
I.
counterpuncher, Joe Biden wants to get into the arena.
V.
He's not mentally, he doesn't have the mental acuity
E.
to stand on the same stage as Donald Trump. As soon as he walks on, the media's going to say it was the greatest performance
And.
of JFK. We know that's what the media's going to do to prop up Joe Biden.
Given. And then did you write me after given?
Joe accountable for his lack of any accomplishments in 50 years in Washington.
We have 15 seconds. I say throw hard punches. Dave Fossey, real quick.
Yeah, I do too, but let me just say this. This is about higher taxes, more regulation, open borders,
Yes.
defunding the police.
Okay, so they will let you do one session, and we'll just do 3 yes tests, and that'll be it. And now I promise I won't do any foolery. So that's excellent news, Mary. Thank you, and thank you for complying too. Okay, so Mary, I have a few questions. One of my questions is, was there a time in history when beasts became human? In Earth history. Like, there were like beasts, and then like something changed and they became human.
Why should you switch to Pure Talk? Because they use the same network as the larger providers for much less. With plans starting at $20 a month for unlimited talk, text, and 2 gigs of data with no contract. The average family saves over $70 a month by switching to Pure Talk. And remember,
No.
you'll get the same number of bars because it's on the same network as the
Thank you for answering that, Mary. Mary, I was talking to this girl named Vicky, and she was trying to get in contact with you, and I was asking for her. Did you feel her trying to get in contact with you? Her first name was Vicky.
Hello, I'm Mike Liddell. When I invented my new My Pillow mattress topper, I made it to have everything you'd ever want in a topper. My mattress topper helps give you the support you need, helps relieve your pressure points, and regulates your body temperature for you as an individual. It comes with a 10-year
Mary, for some reason she wanted you, she feels a connection with you. She wanted you to pick out, she's changing her name, and she has to pick a last name, and she was wondering if you would do the honors of picking out her last name. Would you be okay doing that? It's okay if the answer is no. We'll understand.
I'm proud to be American. Less than 4 years ago, I was embarrassed to call myself an American. I believed the police would harass me just because of the color of my skin. I used to be an atheist. A PragerU video opened my mind.
No.
I binge watching 5-minute videos, and I realized
Okay. I'm sorry to bother you with those questions, but I wanted to ask for that person. Mary, I was wondering, last time we talked, or maybe the time before, I think last time, I found out that spirits actually connect with me and give me musical inspiration at different times. And I was wondering, are the spirits who help me with music, are they fifth dimensional?
Help us make more pro-American content and change the minds of young people like us. Please support us with your tax-deductible donation at RagerU.com.
People across America trust Nutrisystem
Yes.
because we deliver your favorite foods made healthier.
And no.
Get 50% off a month.
So both they are yes and no?
Shakes free. Order now to get 50% off a month.
Is that true?
Delivered to your door.
Time for new reading glasses? Go to readers.com. Choose from hundreds of styles and colors for under $20. And now, enter this exclusive TV coupon code at checkout to save up to 40%. That's readers.com.
Yes.
Do you have a life insurance policy you no longer need? Now you can sell your policy, even a term.
Mary, do they ever come from realms other than the fifth dimension and then in between the third and fourth dimension? Do they ever come from any other realms other than the fifth dimension, the in between third and fourth dimension, and the fourth dimension?
Life insurance, you may be a candidate to sell your policy. Call 1-800.
Do they ever come from other realms than that?
Or visit CoventryDirect.com.
What started out as a better floor liner for your car turned into even more superior ways to protect the inside
No.
and outside of your vehicle. That led to enhanced ways to protect your home and to keep your pets safe.
Mary, I was wondering about this next question. On the Earth, were there ever giants in the third dimension on Earth?
Things worth protecting are American jobs. WeatherTech, made right in America.
Did giants ever live on Earth?
Before the highly anticipated presidential debate, WP shares his thoughts on the showdown tomorrow. Part of our can't miss evening lineup.
No.
Will be the most important election of our lifetime, and we need you to take action now to show your
Mary, do giants live in the in-between area of the third and fourth dimension?
president in history. He signed Bernie Sanders' radical platform that includes Medicare for all, defunding police, Green New Deal, and abolishing ICE. Please join Ronald Reagan's winning campaign managers who rallied millions of Americans in support of President Trump.
Interesting. Mary, I was looking over some of the notes that I took over the past few years, and I found out that you said that no new souls have arrived since you've been to the fifth dimension. Is that true? That no souls that you know of have arrived in Earth since you've been in the fifth dimension? Is that what you were saying? No.
Unfortunately, tonight the left-wing smear machine is up and running against Judge.
Mary, if you can remember, what were you saying then when you said that, when we were talking about that, if you remember?
President's nominee, and even refusing to meet with her. Liberals are so honest and open-minded, aren't they? They're just so giving and caring and loving
And?
and smears and slander
Oh.
away
And?
Judge Barrett and her family.
E.
And I will not be meeting with her
W.
because I think it would treat this process as legitimate, which it is not.
S.
With her, we took
O.
Dick Durbin, the number 2 Democrat in the Senate earlier today.
U.
He said he would
L.
courtesy.
I will not be
S.
meeting with her. I will take the opportunity to question her when she is under oath.
C.
Must be turning her over
R.
the grave up in heaven to see that the person they chose
E.
to be intent on undoing all
A.
that Ginsburg did.
T.
I guess Chuck is an
E.
authority in these things. And it gets worse. CBS News contributor,
D.
so-called professor under fire for actually suggesting
I.
that Judge Barrett, other white parents adopt black children
N.
to use as, quote, props.
T.
Wow. Now, the good news is conservatives, Republicans,
H.
the Trump White House are all standing strong. They are ready to do
E.
anything and everything to defend Judge Barrett from the endless lies
F.
and smears and slander and besmirchment and character assassination that the left
I.
is deploying in her direction. And as Senator Graham explained, hearings are set to
R.
begin on October the 12th.
S.
The confirmation vote is expected
T.
before Halloween. Here with reaction. Author of the brand new book, by the way,
R.
One Vote Away. It comes
E.
out tomorrow. It's now on Amazon.com.
A.
Texas Senator, constitutional scholar in his own right. Ted Cruz is with us.
L.
Timing, very interesting.
M.
And he is slated to meet with.
So no new souls were you wrote none, no, none, and then you wrote W, but I think that was a mistake. You wrote. Oh no, you wrote no new. What? Okay, you wrote no new souls created in the first realm. So in the realm before ever incarnating, since you've been in the fifth dimension, no new souls that you know of have been created. Is that true? Is that true? Yes. And Mary, is it possible that they have been created and you just aren't aware of it? Is that possible? Yes. Okay, interesting. Mary, I was wondering, out of all your lives that you've lived in the third dimension, which life do you remember the clearest?
Okay, 29 times in presidential election years, there have been openings on the U.S. Supreme Court. You discussed this in a column. I want you to explain what has happened historically, because all 29 times, presidents nominated people. That would be the norm.
W.
That's exactly right. In our country's history, 29 times Supreme Court vacancies during presidential election years.
Y.
Presidents always nominate someone. All 29 times, whether you're Republican or Democrat, the president nominates someone. And what's interesting is what the Senate does. There's a clear historical pattern and precedent. 19 times, the Senate and the president have been the same party. The Senate has confirmed 17
Y. W.
10 times, the Senate and the president have been different parties. The Senate's confirmed only 2 of those nominees. So the clear precedent is, if you're of the same party, you go forward. And here it's especially central because 2016.
I got all, and then I got way. Did you write all and then way?
And how a single Supreme Court seat can change history. And it starts with the death of Justice Scalia in February of 2016. And what the book does, John, as you know, before I was in the Senate, I was a Supreme Court litigator. And
No.
what I did for a living was
Mary, was the first word you wrote all?
Each chapter of the book addresses a different constitutional liberty. So there's a chapter on free speech. There's a chapter on religious liberty.
Mary, what was the second word you wrote?
On U.S. sovereignty. There's a chapter on democracy and elections talking about Bush versus Gore. I helped represent
W.
George W. Bush in Bush versus Gore. We may well see that same kind of litigation this election. And what the book does is it tells war stories from inside. It takes readers behind the curtain. If you want to understand what's going on at the Supreme Court, who the justices are, and what's really striking is it goes through the big landmark cases that I helped litigate. And one after the other, they're fighting.
Mary, did you write wax?
We're one vote away from losing our fundamental liberties. In the book, I wrote it this summer. I didn't know we'd have a vacancy.
What was the word you wrote after wax?
And it's front and center the stakes of this election, and it's also front and center if you want to understand the fight we're having over Judge Barrett right now. The book One Vote Away helps explain that.
And
you're right about that too.
D. Okay. All wax and wane. You wrote all wax and wane. Is that what you wrote?
Get rid of the legislative filibuster. We can impeach the president any day of the week for anything. I mean, this is the crazy rhetoric that has come out.
Mary, is there a life that defines who you are more than any other life? Or do they all wax and wane as well? Yes. I don't know to which question you answered yes to. So let me ask you, is there a life that defines you, your identity, more than other lives? Is there any? Is that true? There is a life that defines you more than any life, your other lives? Right. No.
And they would take away religious liberty. They certainly don't want to talk about the Second Amendment. You look at a case like Heller versus District of Columbia, which represented Texas and 30 other states.
Mary, I've talked about metaphysical things with you before, and I was wondering, can people make themselves invisible? Like, I guess that would be a power, a metaphysical power. In 3D, are there certain people that can make themselves invisible?
The government could make it illegal for you or me to own a single firearm, and no American would have a right to challenge that in court. That is radical, that is extreme, and Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden pledge every justice they appoint would vote for that position. That's how dramatic this threat is, and it's why the stakes, this nomination of Judge Barrett may well be the single most important thing President Trump has done.
Mary, I was wondering, one of the times we talked, you said that you don't have the power to go to the fourth dimension. Then another time that I talked, you said that you literally go to the fourth dimension to see life reviews. Can you explain why you said that you didn't have the power to go, but then another time you said that you do go? Sometimes?
The media mob, they've been salivating over and tirelessly covering the New York toilet paper Times and President Trump's taxes.
Can you make me understand that?
President Trump called out the media for their bias. Take a look.
I think there's only one reason he made all that money. And then you have to say Joe's involvement. And why did Joe not $1 billion over to Ukraine as an example? Such time as they let go of the prosecutor that was investigating the company that was involved with. Here's some big questions. I don't think they have answers. And if we had a media that was fair, even just reasonable, this would be the biggest story years and years and years. Then you'd really be to real political. It's not the fake committee that gives you these fake awards.
Meanwhile, the Times made a stunning omission in their reporting of a woman who has been charged with attempted murder after driving her car into a crowd on Saturday.
Or that was an N, I bet.
She was a BLM protester targeting Trump supporters. Here with more.
See, the planchette is like, it goes off the board when you go all the way to N. So a lot of times you say O, and it's really an N. That's one of those times. N-E. Leaders can send me. Got it. So when you go to the fourth dimension, it's not because of your powers, it's because you've been sent by other beings, the leaders. Mary, I'll be right back.